Today is October 1st. It's Thursday, October 1st, 2020. And today's a special day because today is the day that the Minneapolis Parks and Rec Board are pursuing to evict all unhoused unhoused encampments from their parks. What that means is the unhoused population has grown to such a level that these communities have sought, I don't say housing because it's not housing, but have sought out community or a sense of some type of thin roof in camping out on park grounds. Now, obviously, that's not ideal. Nobody should have to live in a park. And I think, oh goodness, 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 and bunch. Who's the guy that sang that? Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte said, we should not shame folks who are unsheltered, but we should shame a society that produces homelessness. So the idea today is that these are the evictions that are happening, and there's a lot of encampments that are getting evicted, and it's sad. But it's not a time to be sad. You know, it's a time for action, and it's a time to really get up off your ass and start doing something, because you're seeing your city for what it is. And Philadelphia showed up and showed out, and they got some housing for their people, and they were able to pull that off, and we're gonna try to pull off the same thing here. And the work going forward has to be constantly giving, but then also seeking out the big kind of steps to take that are gonna solve long-term homelessness. So like that has to happen. And I know that people want to end capitalism and imperialism. That's the bigger step. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, let's take these few other steps before we get there. And it's not like you're gonna take down capitalism in a night. But how do we serve the unhoused population is the big question of this one, because October 1st is here. Folks are getting evicted, and we got to make some moves. You got to make some moves. You got some work to do. I got some work to do. So what's happening going forward is we're doing one-day supply drives at Bryant Square Park every Sunday from 1 to 7. That's through Homebase. On Instagram, you can find that at Homebase Central. And Homebase, I mean, what the work that we're looking to do is buy properties, and then start to utilize those properties as places people can stay that are unsheltered. That's the big move. But that being said, you might be asking yourself, okay, why is the Parks and Recreation Board evicting all these people? The language going forward is, hey, a park is no place for a person to be living. Okay, so where do they go? That's the thing. I get it that you say that it's almost like this bureaucratic thing of just like passing the buck down. It's like, hey, not my job. And I talked to Latricia Vita about this, who I wholeheartedly appreciate for having that conversation with me and being open to having other conversations down the road. But the big thing is, okay, cool, you're saying they can't live in the folks can't live in the parks. Okay, where? You say that the shelters are open, but nobody trusts anybody in the shelters. So okay, where? Okay, so the city bought 2 motels and they have 55-ish rooms for people. Okay, where else? The city has had the chance to do this, and what you're seeing is that Mayor Jacob Fry and the city council are 1,000% culturally incompetent to handle homelessness or to approach an unhoused community or to even address an unsheltered community. It ain't happening. And you can't just start building lofts across the street of PV Park and say, hey, look, we're doing something. You had a long time to do something, and you ain't showing up to the table in about 3 years, bro. So no, you probably have to go. That being said, and I say this in Good Morning Minneapolis all the time, we might as well be doing the work if our city leaders can't. And I know that the sentiment is, hey, a park is no place for somebody to be living. Okay, well then, what happened to the elected officials that can't put something together to address this issue? Because the population is bigger, the unhoused population is bigger than it's ever been, and it looks like the city's trying to hide the unhoused population so as to put on this performative or presentable, polished look. Back in mid-May, there were a lot of white folks that came to the forefront and were like, oh my goodness, Minneapolis Parks and Rec is rated as #1 in the country. Now, where are y'all at now? What are you doing now? You're going to celebrate parks? Well, get down there and help out people that are in the parks, or make the parks, some type of step to permanent housing. That's the whole point. Nobody wants to have shelters because nobody wants to have homelessness in their city. You want to eliminate that, right? So if you want to eliminate that, then find a way for people to get affordable housing moving forward, and don't just try to hide it and scoot it out of the parks. The other theory that I have, which is a little bit morbid, is that the Parks and Rec Board doesn't want to catch a body. So that means, all right, it's getting cold, y'all got to leave, which AKA maybe it's getting cold, somebody might die in the parks. We don't want dead bodies in the parks, which again is, if you don't want folks dying in the cold, well, they can give them a roof, give them heat, give them shelter. That's all it is. Give them shelter. Figure out a way. There are plenty of abandoned apartments. There are hundreds of condos in Uptown that nobody is living in. Why not that? Let's give them a roof over their head for winter. What's up with that? So there's a lot of solutions that people are seeking out. However, it's October 1st today, and although Latricia and I kind of vehemently disagreed on, our stance on the parks being a place that unhoused communities can, create some type of community or have like a stepping stone to permanent housing. The question is where, did you sweep everything under to the Greenway? The whole point being is that there has to be a better plan than Mayor Fry showing up to PV right before it gets bulldozed to the ground and 5 people get arrested, and giving a press conference about lofts across the street and then answering no questions from the public. So this is kind of an emergency. So every Sunday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., Bryant Square Park, we're going to be doing a one-day supply drive. And then if you go to Home Base Central, we're going to be providing some long-term solutions there. So that is the move going forward. Go to Home Base Central and go to Minneapolis Sanctuary, Logan Park, whatever, who's ever helping and that you know of, that you trust. Because the commodity here that is priceless is trust. If you can, the way we get through this, at least the way that a lot of folks in the encampments, communicate with folks outside of the encampments, trust. It's trust. So get that wherever you have trust in where you're giving or donating or running a supply drive for, go there, or the the Sanctuary Supply Depot over at currently Powderhorn Park Neighborhood Association. So yeah, there's that. But do the work. We'll see you in the next one. And really, do the work.